It's a plain and simple fact that Yah is going to do what Yah is going to do. A question might be asked, though, are we going to be okay with how he does it? Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10 Minute Torah, Day 4, the Torah portion Bo. Let's go to Exodus or Shemot chapter number 11. Verse 1 says, And Yahweh said to Moshe, I am bringing yet one more plague on Pharaoh and on Mitzrayim. After that, he is going to let you go from here. And when he lets you go, he shall drive you out from here altogether. There's a lot to be read in this short chapter, chapter number 11, only 10 verses. A couple things here I noticed right off the top, and that is that the plague that is yet to come, it is directed at two locations. One is against all of Mitzrayim, but then there is also against Pharaoh himself individually and in particular. So Pharaoh, at first, he acted as if the water turning to blood had no effect on him. And he seemed to be skirting by on some of the other plagues that affected mainly the people. Maybe he felt, protected or less affected by being in the palace and having those that would wait on him. Nevertheless, this is going to hit his house. And he's going to lose his own son, his own firstborn. And so Yah is saying, I'm going to hit you in particular. We frequently today read news headlines where there are sudden deaths that take place. Saw a couple today. Individuals that are young, 20s, 30s, 40s, my age, even 40s are young, and suddenly taken out. You can think of all the conspiracy theories that you want, but the reality is when Yah takes a life or when Yah calls to the end of days for someone, it reminds me of Psalms 73, that those that have arrogantly stood and shook their fist at the Most High and ranted against the heavens and lived as if the commands of Yah had no importance or effect on them. Psalm 73 verse 17 says that when the writer went into the sanctuary, then he understood their end. And while he looked at them previously and thought there's no bonds in their deaths, they're getting by with everything, he said, then I realized that they're taken out in a moment and in terror and suddenly. Yah has a way of balancing and justifying the scales. And while we look at some that rant against the Most High, that shake their fist in the heavens, that thumb their noses at anything that is righteous and just, days are coming. Someone some years ago was looking at a great injustice, and my advice was just wait. And when justice is meted out, even though it was grievously acted against you, when justice is brought to pass, there will be no gloating. It will only be sorrow at how quick and how fast that it came. So this is not about who's right, who's wrong type thing, because Israel at this point is still not what you would call a righteous nation. They are still in an infancy of understanding their reclaimed identity and barely able to be delivered. The rabbis say that there are 50 levels of depravity and falling away from the Torah, and that Israel had fallen to the 49th of 50 levels before they were rescued. So Israel, if that is true in its commentary, was greatly overtaken by the idolatries and the paganisms and the mindsets of the Mitzrites, the current world system as it symbolizes, so greatly engulfed in all that, they were barely able to be delivered themselves. So then it says that when Pharaoh lets you go, It's not going to be a passive opening up of the gates and doors and say, well, okay, y'all go ahead and leave. No, he's going to throw you out. He's going to drive you out of here and demand that you get out of here. Matter of fact, we see Moshe and his personal development. And it says here that verse number 8, and all the servants of yours shall come to me, he's speaking to Pharaoh, they shall come to me and bow down to me, saying, get out, you and all the people at your feet, and after that I shall go out. Then he left Pharaoh in great displeasure. So Moshe is saying, Pharaoh, they're going to come and bow down to me. What is that saying? The people are going to see me on equal status, if not greater status, than you. When Moshe first showed up in front of Pharaoh, many chapters earlier, he was intimidated, he was shaking, he was frail, and even though he showed signs and wonders with Aaron, his brother, nothing really happened. Things got worse. Now he is a man standing in great prophetic significance and confidence. A very powerful man, and he's pointing his finger at Pharaoh and saying, you lost. And before this is said and done, this last plague that's coming on the land and upon you personally, your people are going to come bowing down to me. The gauntlet has not just been thrown down. Moshe has picked it back up and he has slapped Pharaoh across the face with it. So Yah has now positioned Moshe to stand as a prophet, his prophet, not only to confront Pharaoh and all of the actions of serpentine slavery that Israel has been subjected to, but also to call Israel to repentance. What is to be required of in chapter 12 that we'll read tomorrow, and the Passover or the Seder, the Pesach institution here, is to deliver Israel. It is about the slaying of the firstborn and the redeeming of the firstborn. We'll get into that tomorrow. But Yah is instituting here a great line of distinction. And in order for that line of distinction for Israel to be in effect, there has to be repentance. Yah is at present, today, these moments. He is sifting those that claim to be his. And he is determining those who have a genuine heart allegiance toward him and that are indeed his by covenant, the covenant of blood. And then against those that are merely walking through the motions, going through motions, and have a familiarity, but they're not attached to the power of Yah. They can quote you the scriptures, they can tell you about their congregational attendance and their good works. But there are those that Matthew 7 says, as Yeshua is speaking, they will come to me in that day and call me master twice and describe for me all the things that they did for me in my name, and yet I will not open the door to them, and I will announce to them, get away from me, you who work. The word there in many translations is lawlessness, Torahlessness, for I don't know you. So if we can count our works and count that as our credibility, that's not enough. There are coming judgments on the land, and we may well see world leaders fall when judgment comes not only to their house or their land, but to them personally. In those days, let us not gloat, but let us look deeply in our own hearts and affirm and know we belong to the Master because we've given ourselves fully and completely to him, and we serve him with a righteous and devoted heart. May that be your ability to stand in today. And I'll see you again tomorrow. To then, shalom.